So we open up our nets 15 minutes before sunrise every time. This is our day 2 banding here. On day 1, we band for 6 hours. So on day 2, we only band for 5 since we do a tear down and move to the next site. So you can see this is our net 1. Here. Very fine mesh. That's really hard to see, and that's the idea, is that the birds can't see it when they fly into it. Sorry, I put in the bag. So this is Aviary. Aviary, it's a type of thrush. So just want to get it a good grip here so you can, so you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, I want to show you. We've got a couple ticks too that we'll take off. But we are collecting fecal samples from these guys, which is why it's going to go into this brown bag here in a second. These bags, I just wanted to show you before, so let's put them in the bag and collect the fecal sample that way. So we're collecting fecal samples from these species. So they go into a brown paper bag, just like a lunch bag. That way, fecal sample in there, can extract it from there. Birds that we're not collecting fecal samples from go into a cloth bag like this. They're both very breathable. That's normal practice at banding stations for transporting them from the nets back to the banding station. She's got that bird in hand.
This, which is like the leg, in millimeters. So this is 17.64. This is the tarsus. This is where we put the band on, and they have a 9-digit USGS band. So if they're captured anywhere else, you're able to find the bird by looking up the band number. This is a chestnut-sided warbler, and it's in the middle of its pre-basic molt right now. It's a female. The females don't have as much chestnut on their sides. The males have pretty pronounced chestnut, and see, she's lost some of her tail because she's molting right now, but she has extensive body molt, and she's also replacing her flight feathers as well. So this is what I'm studying for my master's, is how birds molt. So it's replacing its primary feathers right now and some of its secondaries. And then these are the old feathers, and these are the old feathers. So they replace them before they migrate, so they have a fresh new coat of feathers for their migration.
Okay, go ahead. You set her down on your hand. There you go. 16 nets here that we run in the gaps to band the birds, to catch the birds in. So we passed, you were at net 1 when we started, and I checked 2 and 3. We passed 16, and then back out through that whole gap over there and kind of up the hill and around, we have all the other nets that we regularly check here.
This is Aviary. So we are collecting ticks in collaboration with Pitt, and you can see there's one right here on the face next to the eye, and then there's another one that's actually pretty big right here. Let me move the feathers out of the way a little bit.
And then how will you remove that tick?
We use tweezers.
Very specific. These little guys, very fine tip point.
Mm-hmm.
We used to remove them and try and get everything on them. Take the tweezers and kind of line up the side here and pull. And just go right into the tube. So. A little tick and just goes right in there.
So we need a mask.
Oh, we need. I thought I told it to you. It was 30.12.
Look at that thing.
That was the tarsus.
See how big that is?
Okay,
See it?
We need masks
Here,
before you
because
release that
that's fine. You see how big that is? That's crazy. It's still moving too.
Okay, I've got a hairy
got
woodpecker
it?
from 9. Okay. This is a hairy woodpecker. This bird was born this year. It's a hatchier female. The females will get rid of these little red tipped feathers on their head, but they help you age hatchier birds because the hatchier females have very little red on their head. So the red would be going back a little bit more extensively. For the leg. So this is a hairy woodpecker. And this bird was caught in the same net.
So birds start their days very early. That's why we open nets 15 minutes before sunrise. They'll start kind of waking up, and those early movements when it's still cooler in the day too, and they'll start foraging. And then you see a lot of the activities start to decrease as the day goes on and it starts to get a lot warmer.
I am here at a Floraroze forest, which is one of 5 sites that is managed by the Foundation for Forestry. We are collaborating with them and are bird banding in their forests. So we bird band at 5 different forests, and this is a gap that was created by the Foundation for Sustainable Forestry. They use a method called Femmelschlagging. So usually forestry companies will come in and make one large clear cut, whereas the Foundation for Sustainable Forestry comes in, they hire the Amish, and they make an initial cut in the forest, and they come in sequential years and make additional cuts, and it creates a mosaic-like forest. So there's a wonderful understory. It creates this early successional habitat that birds really like. They utilize these habitats for nutrients. There's a lot of bugs and berries, whereas you won't get that in the mature forest, for example. So we bird band at these sites. So at this site in particular, we have 16 nets in differently aged gaps. So each gap has a different stand age, so that's how old the trees are. We set up the nets, and we get up the next morning after the nets are set up, and we band for 6 hours on the first day, and then on the second day we band for 5 hours. When we check the nets, they are this really thin gossamer net. It's called a mist net. We walk up to the net, we extract the bird from the net, put them in a cotton breathable bag, bring them back to the banding station, where I will band them. I'll get their age, sex, breeding condition, how much fat they have, if they're molting, their wing length, their leg length, and their weight. And I am actually studying how birds molt in these gaps, so how they replace their feathers. So molt is actually considered a very large bioindicator. So the quality of feathers can tell you a lot about the quality of the ecosystem that it inhabits. The National Aviary is trying to study how birds utilize these gaps that are created by the Foundation for Sustainable Forestry. There's not a lot of literature on this forest clearing method, so hopefully we get some awesome results.